Good morning, students. Welcome to online e-learning classes. Students, today we are going to read chapter 2, that is the end of bipolarity, from part 1 political science textbook, that is the contemporary world politics. So from this book, chapter 2, end of bipolarity, and under this chapter today we are going to cover the following two topics. The first one is, why did Soviet Union disintegrate? Why did Soviet Union disintegrate? And our second topic is consequences of disintegration. So these two topics we are going to cover today. So students, listen carefully. First, I'll brief that why Soviet Union was disintegrated. Then I'll explain the consequences. Then I'll go in detail about the two topics. Listen, students. Why did the Soviet Union disintegrate? This is the question. Yes, it may be asked in the board exam. Why did this Soviet Union was disintegrated? I mean divided. Already we studied it was disintegrated in 1991, and with the disintegration the Cold War come to an end, or the Soviet bloc or the communist bloc, the second bloc of the world came to an end. So students, why did the Soviet Union disintegrate? The simple answer is the internal weaknesses of Soviet political and economic institutions. It is the internal weaknesses of Soviet political and economic institutions which failed to meet the aspirations of the people. The political economic institutions of Soviet Union unable to meet the aspirations of the people, which were responsible for the collapse of Soviet system. This is the answer. The second one, consequences of the disintegration. I mean, what are the results of this disintegration of Soviet system or Soviet Union? As a consequence of Soviet disintegration, what happened? The Cold War come to an end. That is the first result. The Cold War come to an end. Second one, the bipolar world was now changed into unipolar. Now bipolar changed into unipolar. Socialist bloc, communist bloc came to an end. The second bloc came to an end. Cold War was ended, like this. So as a consequence of Soviet disintegration, the Cold War confrontations ended along with the arm race. USA, it emerged as the world power or world leader. I mean, soon after the disintegration of USSR in 1991, USA became the world leader, and it became unipolar world. Okay. Next one, it also dominated in institutions like World Bank, IMF, etc. USA. Notion of liberal democracy emerged as the best way to organize political life, and many new players came to the scene. That means democracy emerged a lot. Communism ended and democracy was established in the political sphere in the world. So this is the consequences. Now I am going to the topics in detail. So listen, students, carefully. Our first topic is, why did Soviet Union disintegrate? It's a question. Now listen. How did the second most powerful country in the world suddenly disintegrate? That's the question mark. This is a question worth asking, not just to understand the Soviet Union and the end of communism, but also because it is not the first and may not be the last political system to collapse. While there are several unique features of the collapse of Soviet Union. There may be more general lessons to be drawn from this very important cause. So we can learn a lot from this collapse of or disintegration of Soviet Union. There is no doubt that the internal weaknesses, as I told you in the beginning, no doubt there was internal weaknesses in Soviet institutions, both economic and political institutions. So there is no doubt the internal weaknesses of the Soviet, political and economic institutions, which failed to meet the aspirations of the people, were responsible for the collapse of this Soviet system. The weak political institutions, the weak economic institutions in the Soviet system, unable to fulfill the aspirations as demanded of the people, hence it became one of the cause for the disintegrate of Soviet system. Economic stagnation, there is no development. Economic stagnation for many years led to the severe consumer shortages. When the economic stagnation took place, it led to severe crisis in the consumer goods, consumer shortages. And a large section of Soviet society began to doubt and question the system, and they started questioning to the government to do so openly. People criticized the government, what the government is doing, why they are unable to control the economic situation like this. Why did the system become so weak? Now the question is this: why the Soviet economic system became so weak? The economic system became weak, stagnant. It resulted in the crisis of consumer goods. People openly criticized the Soviet government. Now the question is this: why the economic system in Soviet Union became so weak? That is the question we need to know. So why did the system become so weak, and why did the economy was stagnant? The answer is partially clear. The answer was, partially clear, that the Soviet economy used much of its resources in maintaining a nuclear and military arsenal. That means in Russia, a major portion of the national income was allocated in the budget. They allocated more money in maintaining nuclear and military preparations. They want to increase the military power. And the development of its satellite states in Eastern Europe within the Soviet system. That means a major portion of Soviet Union, their national income was allocated in the military preparations, in production of nuclear weapons. At the same time, some more income was allocated in maintaining the satellite states which were under control of Soviet Union in the Eastern European countries. These satellite states, the 5 Central Asian republics in particular. This led to a huge economic burden on what? Soviet government. The maintenance of both, nuclear weapons and satellite states, it led to a huge economic burden on this Soviet government. And the Soviet government unable to cope up with it, unable to recover from that economic solvency. At the same time, ordinary citizens became more knowledgeable. Ordinary citizens of Russia became more knowledgeable. Soviet Union became more knowledgeable about the economic advance of the West. The people of Soviet Union, they are comparing the advancement of US with USSR, and the people became more knowledgeable. They are comparing the development of West and East. Now they could see the disparities between their system and the systems of the West. They came to know what are the weaknesses in Soviet system and what are the advantages of the capitalist system. So people can easily distinguish both the systems, which is better for their nation, for economic development. After years of being told that the Soviet system was better than Western capitalism, I repeat once again, after years of being told that the Soviet system was better than Western capitalism, the reality of its backwardness came as a political and a psychological shock. Now, first here I'll explain what are satellite states. You should know what are satellite states. I told Soviet system is having some of its satellite states in Eastern European countries. Wow, what are they? Satellite states are those states. Satellite states are those states which are independent, but their policies are dictated by some great power. Satellite states are those states which are independent. They are not under any other country's control. So they are independent states, but their policies, their political economic policies are dictated by some great power. That means the Eastern European countries which are under control of, influenced by Russia or Soviet system, their policies are dictated by Soviet bloc. When the economy and political power of a poor backward and underdeveloped country is dependent on some foreign power, and the concerned state does not enjoy much independence in its internal and external policies, it is known as satellite state. During the Cold War period, most of the countries of Eastern Europe were satellite states of USSR. Now, coming back, the Soviet Union had become stagnant in an administrative and political sense as well. Not only economic stagnation, in political way also it was stagnant. Administrative way also they became stagnant. The Communist Party, that had ruled in Soviet Union for over 70 years. Communist Party was ruled around 70 years, was not accountable to the people. Another feature, another reason. The communist government which ruled over Soviet Union for a long period of 70 years, it was not accountable, responsible to the people. The government neglected the aspirations of the people. Next one. Ordinary people were alienated by slow and stifling administration. The ordinary people were lost faith in the Soviet government. The government policies were not good. It is not running fast. It became slow. And the government also alienated the ordinary people, neglected the ordinary people. And in the administration field, rampant corruption was found. Corruption was increased in the Soviet system. So this is another important cause. Administrative failure, rampant corruption, etc. Economic stagnation, we have studied. The inability of the system to correct mistakes, it had made the unwillingness to allow more openness in government. And the centralization of authorities in a vast land. This is another reason. The centralization of authority in the vast land. 15 states are there in Soviet Union, and the government was ruled from Russia. It is the center of all the 15 states. From here the administration was moving. So excessive centralization of power at one place neglected the other states. So other states people felt alienated. Hence they question, they want decentralization of power. That's also become another reason. Worse still, the party bureaucrats gained more privileges than ordinary citizens. The Communist Party members, the officers, the political leaders of Communist Party, they enjoyed all the privileges provided by the government, and these privileges are not at all enjoyed by the ordinary people. Hence, in the eyes of ordinary people, the bureaucrats became the eyesore. People did not identify with the system and with the rulers, and the government increasingly lost popular backing. Now, Gorbachev's reforms. Now, Gorbachev came to power. So, by seeing the situation, what Gorbachev did? He tried to solve the economic condition of Soviet bloc? If he did, what he did, whether he was succeeded or he was failed. Let us see. Gorbachev's reforms promised to deal. When he came to power, he promised the people. Gorbachev's reform promised to deal with these problems. Whatever problems I mentioned above. Rampant corruption, privileges are enjoyed by bureaucrats, neglect of ordinary people, government is not accountable to the people, economic stagnation, all these things. Gorbachev promised to reform the economy, catch up to the West. He said that he will recover the economy, and he will catch up the speed like Western countries like USA. And loosen the administrative system. Very good. He tried to concentrate more in economic field. He wanted to move along the speed of USA, but at the same time he neglected the administrative field. You may wonder why the Soviet Union collapsed in spite of Gorbachev's accurate diagnosis of the problem and his attempt to implement reforms. You may question, even though Gorbachev introduced some economic reforms, he made policies to match with Western countries. He always increased the speed to move along with the Western countries. He neglected the administrative field. But still, why Soviet Union was disintegrated? You want to know the reason. Here is where the answers become more controversial, and we have to depend on future historians to guide us better. The most basic answer seems to be that when Gorbachev carried out his reforms and loosened the administrative system, he set in motion forces and expectations that few could have predicted and become virtually impossible to control. There were sections of Soviet society which felt that Gorbachev should have moved much faster were disappointed and impatient with his methods. They did not benefit in the way they have opted, or I can say hoped, or they benefited too slowly. Others, especially members of the Communist Party and those who were served by the system, took exactly the opposite view. They felt that their power and privileges were eroding. Their power and their privileges are eroding, and Gorbachev was moving too quickly. His own party men criticized his policies. People felt he is moving very fast. People felt their privileges are eroding by this person's policies. Like this. In this tug of war means rope war. In this tug of war between Gorbachev and his followers or his party members, in this tug of war, Gorbachev lost support on all sides and divided public opinion. So Gorbachev lost his support from his party members and also other people. Even those who were with him became disillusioned. Those who are supporting Gorbachev, now they also lost their faith on Gorbachev, and they left. And they felt that he did not adequately defend his own policies. All these might not have led to the collapse of Soviet Union, but for another development that surprised most observers and indeed many scholars. The rise of nationalism and the desire for sovereignty within various republics, including Russia and the Baltic republics like Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. That means remaining 14 republics who are the members of this union, they also felt that the power should be distributed. There should not be centralized control. They demanded autonomy. They want power so that they can develop their own states. So there is a popular demand from all the 14 states, especially the Baltic states, including Russia, that power should be decentralized. Hence, it became the major cause for disintegration of Soviet Union. Okay, Ukraine, Georgia and others proved to be the final and most immediate cause of the disintegration of USSR. Here again there are differing in views. One view is that the nationalist urges, the nationalist people, the people who started this movement, urges and feelings were very much at work throughout the history of the Soviet Union, and that whether or not the reforms that occurred, there would have been an internal struggle within the Soviet Union. This is a what if of history, but surely it is not an unreasonable view given the size and the diversity of the Soviet Union and its growing internal problems. Others think that Gorbachev's reforms speeded up and increased nationalist dissatisfaction to the point that government and rulers could not control it. Ironically, during the Cold War, many thought that the nationalist unrest would be strongest in the Central Asian republics, given their ethnic and religious differences with the rest of the Soviet Union and their economic backwardness. However, as things turned out, nationalist dissatisfaction with the Soviet Union was strongest in the more European and processed parts in Russia and Baltic Sea areas, as well as Ukraine, Georgia. Ordinary people here felt alienated from the Central Asian and from each other, and conducted also that they were paying too high and an economic price to the keep up more backward areas with the Soviet Union. Same thing what I said. The other 14 states, they felt that they are paying a lot to this union, but they are being neglected. Hence, there is no development in their states. So the people in those states, they rose in revolt. Nationalist aspirations spread. So they demanded decentralization power. That became the major cause for disintegration. Now we are going to the next topic, that is, what are the consequences of disintegration of Soviet Union? Students, as I told you, what are the consequences? First, that is end of bipolarity. The first consequence of the disintegration is what? End of bipolarity. At the same time, the second is what? The Cold War came to an end. Third one, the Soviet Union was disintegrated into 15 republics. So these are the three main. I repeat, first is what? The first consequence of Soviet Union disintegration is what? The Cold War came to an end. The second consequence was the bipolar world, which is dominated by Western Alliance and Eastern Alliance, or Western Bloc and Eastern Bloc, that was came to an end. Now the third one, the world became unipolar and USA became the world leader. Moreover, the Soviet Union was disintegrated into 15 republics and the power was decentralized. Now I'll tell you what was the effect of the disintegration of USSR on Russia. What was the effect of the disintegration of USSR on Russia? After the disintegration of Soviet Union, Russia accepted as the successor state of the Soviet Union. So in the place of USSR, now we can call it what? Russia. Instead of USSR, we will call Russia after disintegration. It inherited the Soviet seat in the Security Council. Now Russia got a permanent seat in Security Council as one of its permanent members with the right to vote, or also it has veto power. Security Council members are having veto power. It also entered into many nuclear disarmament measures with USA. Now Russia entered number of treaties, number of pacts with what? USA in disarmament. All this made Russia very powerful after the USA. Now today in the world, after USA, Russia is the second largest powerful country in the world. Now give two causes. Suppose the question is, give two causes the disintegration of Second World or Soviet Union. Why the Soviet Union was disintegrated? Give two reasons. Answer. The disintegration of Soviet Union was the main reason for the collapse of the Second World. I repeat, disintegration of the Soviet Union was the main reason for the collapse of the Second World. With this, the bipolarity in the world was automatically collapsed. Second one, non-alignment movement played an important role as it advised the members not to join with any power bloc. Okay, students. Now, here one question is given, that is, what are the consequences of the disintegrated Soviet Union? You have to read that one. So, thank you very much, students. This is the end of today's topic. Thank you.